I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at Ask Adam Torres to keep up with my book releases and tour schedule. And if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Wendy Serrino on the line, and she's founder and board chair over at North Shore Exchange. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam.
All right, Wendy. So, we have a lot to talk about today, and I'm really excited to get into it. So we'll talk about, obviously, North Shore Exchange and all the great work you're doing there. Also about your nomination. I won't spoil that one right now, but you were nominated for a big award that we'll talk about. And then also what you're doing with your own awards and charity, which is talking about luxury on a mission, North Shore Exchange. I like to play on the word mission, but you truly are a mission-based business, and you not only put your words out there, but you also put your money where your mouth is on this one. And we'll talk about what that looks like also. But just to get us started. So Wendy, we at Mission Matters, so we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. So Wendy, what mission matters to you?
The mission that matters to me is to find new revenue streams to help fund nonprofits. And that's the whole point of North Shore Exchange.
Love it. And the way that you develop North Shore Exchange to do that is a big deal. And when you talk about starting with a couple of stores and then what you've managed to do, let's go a little bit further back though to the beginning. So how did you start with this on this entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I have a business background, and I was a product manager at Kraft for about 15 years. And then when I was at home with my kids, I was trying to find ways to utilize my business skills and the extra time I had. And I found myself doing a lot of philanthropy and raising money for different organizations. And I got kind of tired of asking people for money all the time, because that's the main way that philanthropy is funded in the United States. And this idea came to me from a friend of mine who worked on another project, a philanthropic project. And we had an old thrift shop in Glencoe that hadn't made money in over 8 years, and it was completely dilapidated. And we had this new idea of how to make it fresh and interesting and capitalize on the market that we had in Glencoe, which is a very affluent community. So we decided to do a luxury resale shop and feature women's designer fashion and home furnishings. And we opened our doors in March of 2013, and we made money from the very beginning. So we're very excited about that. We seem to hit a trend that was going upwards, and we've been trying to ride that trend ever since.
Wow, what an amazing story. And I want to go back to the beginning a little bit. So you have this idea, and the reason I'm asking this question, by the way, is because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, there's a lot of people that are in the same position you were before. So maybe they were like very tenured executives, or they're very specialized in their skill. They have a certain skill set and they want to do more. Like they don't know, sometimes they know exactly what it is, like you happen to, sometimes they don't. But the bottom line is this: you had an idea, you executed it, you were able to also, make it profitable. But what kind of advice would you give to somebody that was maybe in your shoes, like those type of shoes, like they're very tenured, they know they have a certain skill set and they're thinking about launching an idea? What would you tell them?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is write a business plan and and construction financials, and see if it's even feasible, what you're trying to do. Resale shops are notorious for not making very much money.
Yeah.
And they're notorious for being sole proprietors because you can't make that much money.
Yeah.
And the reason is you touch each item is unique, and you touch each item at least 10 times in the selling process. Yeah. So when you do that, you don't have 1,000 blouses like Nordstrom has to sell to their customers. You have one of each thing that you have to authenticate, you have to check its condition, you have to photograph, you have to price, and you have to market. So it's unique in that way. And so I was really interested in, well, how can you make this profitable? And the way we came at it was you have to lower the overhead. And the way we lowered the overhead is that we are mostly volunteer run. So we have right now, at the time we were 100% volunteer run, and now we have about 80 volunteers and about 24 employees. So that helps us keep our overhead low, and it lets everyone from our volunteers, our employees, our shoppers, and our consigners participate in our mission, which is to raise money to create grants for charity.
That's amazing. So what I love about this is that, so you went into a market that you already saw, like there was a inherent problem, which was that in terms of the overall model, right? So we're not talking about a SaaS product that if you can get the right, acquisition for each client and they're on the product long enough in terms of ARR that, like it's plug and play, like it's scalable, you're doing different things. You knew there were some inherent challenges with the business model from the beginning, but yet you didn't say it's not possible. What you did essentially was to say, like, how do we solve this? And then you found it happened to be overhead. So, and you were able to accomplish that and match your mission. So I feel like that in itself is a case study of, sometimes somebody says, well, that business won't work, or that, whatever isn't possible. Maybe sometimes it's looking at it from a different angle. It's planning better. Like you said, business plan, like there's some other things that can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we had to, we also learned that we had to curate what we pick. And honestly, we turn down more items than we take. So I think that focus on luxury items and items that are in demand that people want, we are really, really rigid about the items that we take, and we know what sells and what doesn't sell. And you can't waste your time on the stuff that doesn't. So we try to be really, really focused on that. And that has worked for us.
Man, and you're talking about like the item. For me, when you say that, I feel like all businesses go through these types of things. So for example, I had a call with my business partner last week where we have one particular product where I'm like, man, this takes a lot of time. If we just cut that one product off and we put those resources on these other products of ours as a media company that really go off the shelf, so to speak, we probably would be better off. So I feel like you're talking about the luxury items for other people that maybe aren't in, a physical good process or anything else, like that same process of really being, I'm guessing you're very numbers driven. It just sounds like it, like you really have a command of your numbers to be able to know what types of things sell and otherwise. So even though it's these are resale shops, like you're running it just as if you were that Nordstrom, so to speak, and had this amount of inventory and things that you have to. And if anything, you probably have to be better in certain ways because you have to be more efficient with what you have.
Yes, very true. I am very analytical. I have an engineering background. And so I always go to the numbers first, and that's what speaks to me first. And is this going to work? Does this make sense? And then if it makes sense, then you can hopefully build the people around to be able to do what you need to do.
So we've talked a little bit about it, but let's just go into the nuts and bolts of it. So tell us more about North Shore Exchange, like exactly what it is and what you do.
Okay. So North Shore Exchange takes consigned and donated goods, but for the most part, it's consigned goods. And so if a consigner has some items that they say they're moving, and they're moving to a smaller place, and they have furniture and they have home items, and they even probably have a lot of fashion, they would let us know. They would either make an appointment with us online, or they would give us a call. And if it's a lot of things, we make a home visit. So we'll go over there and say, these are the things we can take, and these are the things we can't take. Here are some other places that may take those things that we don't want to take. And then we kind of evaluate that, and then we bring them back our store, our shop, our storage unit, whatever. And we look at them very closely. We research every item to make sure that we're an accurate price on the resale market, and then we price it. And we photograph many of our items, not all of our items, but all of our higher end items get photographed and put on our website. And then we market them. So we have a weekly e-blast that our customers look forward to. We have a website that you can buy on, and you can just shop it like a catalog. And then we also are on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and YouTube. So we have a heavy social media presence. So we let people know when a sale is coming up, what if we got a big shipment of Gucci handbags or whatever it is. We use those vehicles to talk to our customers.
So both men's and women's fashion, or
No,
primarily?
just women's.
Okay.
And the reason for that is the men's stuff is altered a lot usually,
Ah,
and there's much less demand. So, men aren't going to be shopping for a cute top, and women shop for a cute top all the time, or a handbag, which fits anybody's size. And so we focused on that because it's higher turn and higher profit margin for us.
no, that's great. And it just goes back to what you're talking about being numbers driven, knowing your market, knowing like the right plan that's going to work for you, and really staying focused are
Mhm.
some of the themes that you've mentioned
Yes,
that
yes.
work for you. So no, that's amazing. So now let's talk about the charity aspect of that,
Okay.
and like how did you, so from the beginning, you mentioned that of course your mission was to create different revenue streams and different profit models that could then benefit charity.
Mhm.
So tell me like how that decision part of it was made as you go into this, because there's different views on this, and I want to know why you went that route.
Mhm. We wanted a purpose, and it's a purpose that everybody can rally around. So the volunteers feel great about participating in the mission. The consigners and the customers feel great because they know part of their consignment or their purchase immediately gives back,
Yeah.
and they know our overhead's low, so they know that we're really efficient at trying to generate funds. The reason we specifically pick poverty, and because those are the neediest people. So our mission is focused on agencies that serve the poor, that are families and individuals that are at or below the poverty level.
Yeah.
So that's one of our criteria in our grant process, is that you have to be serving that population. And that really served us well in this last year, because poverty spiked during the pandemic, and the food insecurity, homelessness, and domestic violence are the three areas in poverty that really spiked and needed help. And we were able to focus our money on those areas.
So historically, as you mentioned, like a lot of resale shops, like normally sole proprietor, maybe one location, like two max, in my opinion. Like I've seen some in LA and otherwise that have kind of done some things. And that's for the in-store locations. And even sometimes online is not quite as strong for some, because again, photographing, cataloging, email blast, like all that takes a certain skill set. So tell me a little bit more about like the kind of the growth of the company, and how it's happened in like locations, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we're made up with a group of really super talented people.
Yeah.
And so we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have photographers or people wanting to learn how to be a photographer. We have people that are experts in technology, payroll, all of that. And we leverage those to help us grow. So every time we've needed somebody, we've looked for that skill set, and then either somebody's learned it or they've brought that in. And that's been incredibly invaluable to us. So our volunteers aren't just housewives looking for stuff to do. They're actually people that had careers in the past, and housewives. I mean, we like everybody, but
Of course.
we've had to leverage certain skill sets to help us grow, because there's a lot of things we didn't know. So that really made a difference for us. And then the growth happened. It's kind of interesting. We opened our doors and we immediately made money, and we were immediately 6 months later able to give our first round of grants.
Wow.
And that
Hold
felt
on.
really.
Wait. I can't let you breeze past that one. That is amazing. First of all, for any store, if you're watching this and you're like, I mean, that's like saying it's just not a very easy thing to accomplish for any business, not just a store, for a brick and mortar online, like to say within 6 months, you were able to turn, like immediately you made money, and then you were able to have enough excess to where you could accomplish part of what your mission is to give back to these causes within 6 months. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so fun. I mean, I think we were all surprised about how fast that was able to happen, but we gave 75,000 that first grant reception, which was a lot of money to us.
That's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money to us then. And we learned so many things. Like, we honestly, Adam, I wish I could say we knew what we were doing. I'd never run a retail store ever in my life. And most of the people had not either. So we, inventory systems, point of sale, all of that stuff we had to learn. And we basically just had a lot of fun doing it, because it was more than just playing store. It was building a business model. So so that was really cool. And then ever since then, we've had years that we've grown, except for the year that we had to shut down for 3 months. And that was tough for us, but we were able to rebound from that. And this last year, we grew 50% during a pandemic. So we're very proud of that. And we were able to give our largest grant ever this year. So it just kind of, what happened, we applied for an award with the Chamber of Commerce of Chicago. It's called the James Tyree Award, and it was for emerging businesses that also do good. And we won, and we won $50,000, and we were able to, with the generosity of 900 North Michigan, they gave us 5 months of free rent. We were able to try a second store. And that was in 2017, I think it was. Yeah. And it worked in the city too. So we were like, okay, we can stay in the city, and and Glencoe keeps growing, and the city's doing great. And then we decided to try a third store, which was our Old Orchard store. And we did that in 2019. And all 3 stores are doing great. But the most fun news for us was that our online website has tripled in business.
Wow.
And we look for it to continue to grow at leaps and bounds. I think it was helped by the pandemic. A lot of people at home looking for things to do. And so that's how we were able to build it. And then our product mix has shifted a little because of the pandemic. We sell a lot more home items and jewelry and handbags than we did before, which is kind of a funny thing. But we mostly sell fashion, but our home business grew quite a bit. So that's kind of the story of how it happened. And we've just been very lucky with the communities that we're in to be very well received and supported. And that is one of the key elements of North Shore Exchange that I should probably talk about for a minute. We're very community-based. And we get our volunteers from the community, and they are also shoppers, and they also tell their friends. And so that is like a huge resource to us, because that community of people not only supports our business by giving their time, but they support our business by telling others about it and developing relationships with our customers. So that's one community. The other community is, there is some hardcore resale shoppers out there. And they love to shop resale, and they love to get a deal. I mean, and I love to get a deal. Like, it's great to buy a pair of Valentino shoes, way below retail. That's just fun. People like a treasure hunt. So we've developed a community of very loyal customers. And then there's the community of consignors who have been with us from the beginning. And then we keep adding on to that. And they feel good about, their goods going to something positive versus a for-profit company. And then finally, there's the community of grant winners. And there's been some that have been with us from the beginning. Even though we have a grant process where we review, we have some that have gotten grants almost year on year. And they're our community too, helping to support us. So, it's just been like a serendipitous thing to have these communities come together to sort of support your business.
So Wendy, I lost track of the wins. I was going to say it's a win-win. I was going to say it's a win-win. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win. Let me just give you 8 wins real quick. Like, there's so many wins here, and the momentum of like the wins for the community. I mean, it's really a movement. Like, I've seen it, and just for it to take off and to do what you're able to do. I mean, we've talked a lot about, of course, some of the logistics. Start with the business plan, like figure out the model, like let's just say the business side of things. Great. But like, for anybody watching this or anybody that's ever built something, it's always the people. Like, the people, like, you weren't accidentally profitable from the beginning, and you weren't accidentally able to give your first grant in 6 months. You may not have known much about the retail business before going on this adventure. And who knows, maybe that's what helped you, because you didn't have some biases that aren't always correct. I know that helped us a lot. I didn't know anything about the media business before launching this, and that's probably why we did some things correctly, just out of being naive and thinking we could do it. So like, sometimes that happens and it works in our favor, but it really does come back to the people. Like, here, if we didn't have our dedicated people that believed in Mission Matters, no way we would have been able to pull this off and do what we've done. For you, I know it's exactly the same thing. If it wasn't for that community of people on every different level, again, lost track of the wins, like the 8 different or 10 different wins that you're creating, and there'll be more. And you got another win over here, by the way. I get to tell the story, so I count us as a win over here too for getting this out and the audience being inspired by what you're doing, because it's my belief that people will watch this, they will get inspired, and they will create other opportunities to even multiply what you're doing, whether it's by supporting North Shore Exchange as a shopper or as a consigner, or whether it's them going off and launching their own way to give back in their own manner. I think it's just really a testament to what you're doing. And I'm not the only one that thinks that, by the way. I understand that you were 2021 Chicago Innovation Awards nominee.
Yes.
First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit more about how that came about.
Well, I mean, we have a marketing manager that really knows what's out there in the community in terms of what could provide visibility for us. And she suggested we apply. So we did. And we feel very, very honored to be among the other nominees. And we can't wait to meet them in September when there's the awards night. So it's going to be really fun to be around other innovative businesses and hear about what they did with their creativity. So we can't wait for that. And we feel very pleased to be a part of that group.
Fantastic. Absolutely amazing. And so now also, not only are you being recognized by others, but your main goal in doing this was, again, to be able to give back to those charities. So North Shore Exchange Luxury on a Mission Awards. So tell us a little bit more about, how this has grown. It's been the theme of this interview. We've talked about giving back, but let's get a little bit more specific, because it's quite amazing, in my opinion.
So Luxury on a Mission just really says what we do. It's, we're selling luxury, resale luxury items to generate funds for charities. And that's our mission. And so that we feel really excited about having something that really encapsulates what we try to do. And our process is we have a philanthropy committee and a very serious grant process that starts in the fall, goes through the spring. And this year we had about 55 agencies asking for about $2 million in help. Wow. And that's actually kind of heartbreaking, because I wish I had $2 million in help to give to all of them. But we don't. Hopefully someday we'll get there. And so they go through a rigorous review process where they look at their financials, how they're run, what they're asking the money for, and all of that. And then they narrow it down. And this year we have 13 grantees that will be receiving a combination of $550,000.
Wow. That first off, that's clap. Like, this is amazing. Like, $550,000 is a lot of money, and you're going to be helping a lot of those 13 different agencies. I do want to talk, because there's some agencies that are possibly watching, and maybe they're going to be looking at the next round. Like, can we go a little bit further into like what that application process looks like?
So there's a letter of intent. It's on our website. So if you go on the philanthropy tab on our website, it'll tell you the timeline and how to apply. The most important thing is that their work needs to be poverty focused for people that are living in poverty. So that, they need to be at least 75% serving that population. So that's one criteria. We don't focus on religious-based organizations. We try to stay neutral with that. And so we typically don't grant to religious organizations. We like to be, non-faith driven, even though they do great work, but we just try to not to be polarizing to anybody. And then like I said, there's about 10 people on our philanthropy committee, and they just dig in and they do site visits, and they do interviews, and they do all of that to sort out who they think are the most worthy in the year. And this year we actually have a couple $100,000 grants we're giving. Two lucky agencies are going to be getting each $100,000, and we're trying to focus it to have a bigger impact. And our mission and our vision say we want to be a leader in impacting the trauma of poverty in Chicagoland. So we, want to give bigger grants, because it's just, you can do a lot more, and you can dream and think of programs and do more for your constituency if you have more money. So we're trying to focus that way, and that'll be a nice surprise for a few of the agencies that are going to be getting grants this year.
Oh, that is so exciting. And again, it's just amazing. You know, over $500,000 and awarded to agencies to really help in terms of poverty. And you don't have to give any specifics in terms of the agency or anything like that. But like what are some of the standouts? Like, what are some of the things that make an agency stand out to be able to potentially be awarded, to be given an award? Just like, what are some of the things that make it
probably mostly the reach of their work. You know, how many people they impact for their work. And so, you know, food pantries are easy ones because they help so many people, and especially in this last year and a half when food pantries have been very, very important for a lot of people in the Chicagoland area in order to put food on their table when they couldn't work. So those are obvious, you know, ones. And you know, really anything. We've done everything from, we did some grants to an agency that put homeless teens through college. So we provided the startup money for them to send 20 kids to college. And you know, we try to focus on things that help change people's lives.
Oh, absolutely. And you are changing lives. This is amazing. So in terms of an agency, so they go through the process, they get awarded. Is there like follow-up process like after that where you see the executions of the grants and things like that and the work they're doing? Like tell me how the end cycle of the giving works, so to speak.
So once they receive a grant, they have to give us a report on how they spent the money and how it went. And that is used in determining, you know, whether to give them money the next year. So we definitely track the performance of our money. We want to make sure that we're giving it to places that really are careful with their money.
Oh, this is great. Let's so I mean, it's amazing. And so let's talk a little bit more about how people can get involved. So now, I mean, well, let me paint this picture for us. So first off, amazing. We know that you're, in terms of the way the businesses are being run, it's very operationally efficient, or else you wouldn't have been able to be profitable. You wouldn't have been able to give away the amount of grants that you're doing based off of 3 locations and an online store. So obviously this thing's operationally efficient, which is a marvel in itself. Let's start there. But now with the profits going to these different charities and things, I'm hoping that some of our consumer-minded individuals that are watching this right now have just discovered a gem that they wanna shop at and that they want to support. Because I know that you said men don't shop for tops, but I'll have to find some things to send to my mother or something because I'm not married or anything. So
well, you'll find stuff for your home, Adam.
I'm buying something.
You'll find art or a table or a chair for your house. Like we have a lot of men that shop. It's just we don't have clothes for them.
Ah, got it. Let's stick on that one a little bit longer. So art, tables, furniture. Tell me a little bit more about that part, because I want men and women to sign up.
Yes, any art, any decorative object, sculptures, anything like that. We sell a lot of that. We sell couches, like we can't keep our couches in. We sell couches out the door, rugs, chairs, coffee tables, lamps, you know, anything for the home we have. And then we have a lot for women. So you will find stuff. We have a lot of men that come in. We have a lot of men that shop our website for gifts or for their home.
Amazing. So let me start this again. Then there are men and women that are watching this right now that have just found a gem, which is North Shore Exchange. So if people want to get on the newsletter, they want to shop, they want to do all these things, like what's the best way? Because I'm signing up for that newsletter blast because I want to support too. I mean, I'm on all these other sites all the time spending money anyway. I should be spending money with you and with North Shore Exchange. So how do I get involved?
So you can email me at wendy@northshoreexchange.org, or you can go to our website at www.northshoreexchange.org. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. You can view our stuff on YouTube as well. But all of those ways, you can just reach out and contact contact us on our website. If you're interested in volunteering, you can click on the volunteer tab and put your name in there, and we'd love to hear from you. We really are looking for some new board members, and we're looking for some people with some human resources expertise and also some legal expertise, and also warehouse expertise, because we're looking to expand into a larger warehouse. So, and we really need some help with that. But we also just need volunteers that want to work in the store, that want to help us price and help people shop. And so we always need those people.
Amazing. So Wendy, this has been awesome. And I just have to ask you, so I know you're busy, like, so what's next? Like, what is the future of Wendy? What's the future of North Shore Exchange look like? Not to have you have your crystal ball, but what's next?
We want to give another $2.5 million in the next 5 years.
Yes.
So that's what we want. That's our goal. And we're already 550,000 on the way there. And so we want to be able to hit we've given 2.5 million in the first 8 years we've been in business, and we want to give another 2.5 in a shorter time period in the next 5 years. So, and we probably want to grow our business about 40%.
Amazing. I love it. This is exciting. And I'm so honored to be able to cover this story and to bring it to my audience. I mean, it's just great. And so one more time, Wendy, if somebody wants to get involved, they want to learn more about North Shore Exchange, leave us the website, like the contact info.
Yeah. So go to northshoreexchange.org and click contact us or to volunteer or whatever, or you're welcome to reach out to me directly at wendy@northshoreexchange.org. We'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Well, Wendy, again, thank you for coming on the show today. It's been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
This is great. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. Don't forget, you better start shopping North Shore Exchange. They're doing a lot of good, and they have great product. I know I'm going to do some shopping there. I know where I'm going to find some things for the house. So definitely go check that out. And if this is your first time listening to the show or watching us, depending on where you're at, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We definitely want you to be a return listener and a return visitor. And Wendy, thank you again for coming on the show. It's been awesome.
Thank you so much, Adam.